What's fascinating about this is that the social science on this shows that when you come out and vilify anti-vaxxers or are aggressive in talking about anti-vaxxers, that it actually hardens their position on some level. And there's some concern, and I think it's legitimate, that if President Obama came out strongly, that it would then become a partisan issue. And that's the danger here. It's not a danger that I have to deal with, frankly, because, you know, we're talking on this program to tens of thousands as opposed to hundreds of thousands or millions. But, I mean, certainly we've gotten a couple emails, you know, that link to Gary Null. And like I say, the assertions, you know, are not backed up by any links to the actual primary resource of data. And so it's a fascinating development. I mean, here's a story. And I, you know, again, you got to be careful with some of this stuff because it's hard to know whether or not someone is trying to demonize people. But this is pretty stunning. There was a story, a CNN.com story. And apparently they did some reporting at the Phoenix Children's Hospital. Maybe they were there for the Super Bowl. I don't know. Somebody went in and did that. And the story of a 10-month-old, Eli, too young to get vaccinated, but would be especially vulnerable to serious complications of measles, such as deafness and brain damage or even death. His parents have a bigger worry. If Eli does have the measles, he could give it to his 3-year-old sister, Maggie, who has leukemia. And this is the family, the Jacks. And in this story, this was a couple of days ago, they were afraid that Eli had the measles. I'm not sure what the update is on this. But according to Arizona health officials, the woman at the clinic who put the Jacks' children in danger was herself infected by members of a family that don't vaccinate and got measles during the visit to Disneyland. Measles are incredibly, I think I mentioned this yesterday, incredibly contagious. I think like 90% of people who are exposed to the measles get it. So this week, Maggie and Eli's father, Dr. Tim Jacks, wrote a blog post in which he expressed his feelings to this family that didn't vaccinate. And he talks about all the things that you would imagine. He says, you know, you've endangered others. It's not just a decision that you're making for yourself. You're making it for society, et cetera, et cetera. But CNN found another guy who responded to this. And this response is bizarre to me. And this could be a function of what we've just talked about in terms of like the polarization and people, you know, get their backs up against the wall. Dr. Jack Wolfson said it's the Jacks family, this is the family, who should keep themselves at home, not him. Wolfson is an Arizona cardiologist. He refuses to vaccinate his 2 young sons. He said the family that didn't vaccinate and endangered Jack's children did nothing wrong. Quote, it's not my responsibility to inject my child with chemicals. It's a cardiologist. In order for a child like Maggie to be supposedly healthy. As far as I'm concerned, it's very likely that her leukemia is from vaccinations in the first place. I'm not going to sacrifice the well-being of my child. My child is pure. It's not my responsibility to protecting their child. CNN asked Wolfson if he could live with himself if his unvaccinated child got another child gravely ill. I could live with myself easily, he said. It's an unfortunate thing that people die, but people die. I'm not going to put my child at risk to save another child. He blamed the Jacks family for taking Maggie to the clinic for care. If a child is so vulnerable like that, they shouldn't be going out into society. I'm sorry. I mean, it's one thing to subscribe to quack medicine and to believe that the entire vaccination regime is a scheme, I guess, to enrich pharmaceutical industry and whatnot. But it's another to be such a huge dick about it.